Money control. 18th of April 2024, Bangladesh saw an India out campaign after the Maldives, so New Delhi needs to prevent China from taking advantage of it. China is financing the India out campaign and playing the game of divide and conquer, enslaving countries along India's borders. Following the Maldives, the India out movement is gaining traction in Bangladesh, where New Delhi has far greater interests than in the tiny Indian Ocean state. Our close and trustworthy ally Ibrahim Mohammed Solih lost the presidency due to the hard-hitting campaign in the Maldives, and Mohamed Muizzu, who has ties to China, took over. Muizzu is ruthlessly bringing the island nation under Beijing's control and is proving to be a formidable opponent for our overburdened diplomatic and security establishments. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government would be foolish to be careless about what's happening in Bangladesh, given the recent regime transition in the country. To give New Delhi a lesson, the India Out campaign urges Bangladeshis to strictly forego any Indian goods that are imported and offered for sale in their nation. Less than 10 days had passed since Sheikh Hasina of the Awami League was sworn in as Prime Minister for a fourth term in a lopsided election. The movement's backers claim that India was keeping Sheikh Hasina in office to further its own political, strategic, and economic interests at the expense of Bangladeshis, endangering democracy and Bangladesh's sovereignty. The campaign is primarily being run on social media. On Facebook, the hashtags #IndiaOut, #BoycottIndia, and #BoycottIndian products are trending, reflecting the deep-seated hatred against us in our backyard. This is a concerning development, considering its importance to our local neighborhood. Pinaki Bhattacharya, a Bangladeshi physician and ardent Hasina critic who has been living in exile in Paris since 2018, is the movement's creator and has amassed over 2 million social media followers. The activist states unequivocally that Hasina has been holding absurd elections since 2014 with India's covert and overt backing and that India will continue to meddle in Bangladesh's internal affairs and support her until its economic interests are gravely harmed. 1 million people saw his debut video on his YouTube channel, which promoted a boycott of Indian goods. The opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, human rights organizations, and civil society organizations strongly supported the social media influencers' initiative. Although employees of stores in Dhaka and Chittagong told Voice of America shortly after the India Out movement began that they had noticed a decline in the sale of Indian goods like cooking oil, processed foods, toiletry, cosmetics, and clothes, our media is somehow reluctant to report on the movement's effects. Al Jazeera also reported on the unfriendly reception Marico's suppliers in Dhaka were receiving from grocery stores, which were usually eager to fill their shelves with the company's hair oil, cooking oil, body lotion, and other products. One shopkeeper expressed dissatisfaction, "Indian products aren't moving, we're stuck with unsold stock and won't be restocking." Nikkei Asia's report on the campaign impacting Ramadan sales in the country, which is primarily Muslim, before Eid just last week is even more concerning. Consumer spending usually increases during Ramadan, leading up to Eid. However, Nikkei Asia reported declining sales of Indian products, including saris, salwar kameez, and biryani masala, due to a serious boycott. Customers asked if the products were Indian before making a purchase, which had never happened before, and stores reduced the price of Indian imports to increase declining sales. Sheikh Hasina's authority. The campaign was started by Hasina's monopoly of power and close relations with India. She abruptly broke her silence after a BNP leader in Dhaka threw his Kashmiri shawl into a fire that was started by Indian items. She said that if BNP leaders were sincere, they ought to burn the Indian saris that their wives had purchased. She made fun of the movement by asking the BNP leaders to prepare meals without using Indian spices, onions, garlic, or ginger. But this is not a thing to joke about. China will benefit if the campaign picks up steam and there is a noticeable decline in importing food, gasoline, fertilizer, and industrial raw materials from India. Bangladesh will inevitably look to China to replace Indian exports. Furthermore, the Chinese are well known for their ability to turn trade gains into military might. By interacting with the entire range of political parties and civil society in the neighboring nation, we may diffuse the India Out campaign rather than focusing solely on Hasina, who already wears her commitment to India on the pallu of her gorgeous saris. Putting our eggs into one basket is scarcely in our national interest. We should not let blinders deceive us. Instead, let's be adaptable and practical.